Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to the Stevie B Show. As always, I'm Stevie B. Well, I have a very special guest with me today. He's a member of WMFO. Is that
Yeah, WMFO.
WMFO. This is my friend Alex Piandes. Alex, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks.
Now, Alex, we know each other through a mutual friend of ours. He's your cousin, right?
My cousin,
Nick,
yeah.
your cousin Nick.
Yeah.
He told me about you. He told me about your radio show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been in radio now off and on and podcasting since 1981. It's interesting how I got into it. I was at a party one night, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. I was at a party one night, and I said, there's a song that you guys need to hear. And we were listening to WBCN, and that's what it was, and they're no longer around. So I called and asked for the request, and they says, well, haven't you heard of the song? Yes, we heard of the song, but, this isn't the way it works. And I found out that even like a station like BCN had a playlist, and they very rarely strayed from it. I found this out when I got into radio, when I went back to college in 1981, and I joined the broadcasting club, that, college radio, there's no playlist. You play whatever you want. You can play the brand new stuff, or you want to play the old stuff, and I tend to play the old stuff because I'm an old man now. But,
what are you, 25, 26?
But it wound up. I wound up transferring to Salem State, and I went to Salem State's station. Had a show intermittent time, so I was a member for 3 years. And then what happened was I got out, I did the grown-up thing and got a job, and still went to club gigs and whatnot and listened to the radio. Mm-hmm. But in 1993, a friend of mine, an old roommate, came and visited my wife and I. By then we were married, and my daughter was an infant. And he said, could you pass out demos from my band? And I said, sure. And he gives me a dozen tapes. So I went around to the local stations that I knew, WZBC, MFO was one of them. And I went to my old station, my alma mater, and I got a shot of nostalgia, and I said, geez, can I sign up for a show? And one guy, who was a wise guy, he says, well, you got to be a student. I says, well, an alumni work. And he said, sure. We wound up being friends. The friend was Joe Kelly, the late Joe Kelly, who was a member of the bands Black Barbie and Zippo Raid in the 90s and early this century. And then I subbed at first a lot, and then got a regular gig. I did jazz. I hosted jazz. I hosted the local rock show. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I just wanted a little more width because they had adopted a rotation clock as well. Not a playlist, but a rotation clock, and you had to do the heavy rotation, light rotation. So I went to WMFO because I knew they were freeform, and I was
now
there.
WMFO, that's near Tufts University?
That is Tufts University.
Oh, that is Tufts University.
Yeah, third floor of Curtis Hall.
Oh.
And we broadcasted at a power 125 watts, and we heard at WMFO, www.wmfo.org worldwide.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah,
www.wmfo.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I went there, and I was there for 10 years. I had a show, Coffee and Smokes, which aired from 7 to 10 on Saturday mornings. And
Coffee and Smokes?
Yeah,
wow.
Coffee.
I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I've grown not to like the title of the show, but I did a lot of good work there. I was able to break a lot of bands. I played newer music. I also got to host. I had the honor of being asked to host On the Town with Mikey D after Mikey D had his stroke. So I did that. Now, intimately.
Who's Mikey D? So for people who don't know.
Mikey D was a local scenester and musician, sometimes musician, who started the show. It's strictly local rock, and they have live bands in every Wednesday night, and they've been doing this for 35 years, I believe.
Yeah.
It's close to 35 anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had the radio show for 35 years?
No, not this show. I haven't.
But you've been in radio for 35 years.
Oh yeah, over that, yeah. So when I hosted intermittent, as a part of a rotation, I hosted on the town Mikey D, and they're still going strong, breaking new bands, but they're all local, all Eastern Massachusetts, and I left WMFO in 2006, November 2006, to coach my son's little league and get involved in his sports. I had to do the dad thing. So, but no, I enjoyed most of it. The other parents were a little tough to take, but I enjoyed most of it. But the kids cycle through their activities, and I was asked to spin some listening parties at some local pubs and whatnot, and I got the itch to get back on the radio again. So in 2013, I trained on the new equipment, and this will be 10 years of the Desperate Hours, which is my show, coming up in May 23rd.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
10 years now. I gotta ask you, the Desperate Hours. Why is it called that? The Desperate Hours.
You know what? I always wanted to call a show that. And I did briefly for one semester in college, but it's one of my favorite movies, and I just think like. I don't know, the tone and type of the music I play, a lot of it's really off the wall. A lot of stuff that you wouldn't hear on the radio, like Walter Brennan or Jim Neighbors or Telly Savalas. I'll play that stuff. But I still play a lot of the old garage, the old 60s garage, a lot of the old 80s garage revival stuff. But I mix it in with a lot of stuff out of your grandparents' collection. I'll throw a Greek record on there, and I'll have a drop in that says, and now for something completely different, and go into a tsamiko or something like that, a Greek dancing music, and then I'll play something else like radically different after that.
We're from Medford. Our most famous Greek resident is Maria Menounos.
Oh, of course, yes.
She went to Medford High School.
Yeah.
She went to Emerson too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. So Desperate Hours, like what time is the show on the air?
6 to 8 p.m. Thursday evenings.
Wow.
Occasionally I do. I might sub. Have a different show to do something different. Like recently, I did a show. It was all country, all 1955 to 75. Country music, and it's all the stuff. A lot of people think country and it's all twangy stuff, but there's a lot of it tells a lot about adultery and drugs and truck driving and all that. And I did a show there, and I'm going to make it a regular feature on the Desperate Hours starting next month.
Wow.
Just like 1 hour a month, just devoted to country, classic mid-century country.
Oh. Now, do you have guests on the show? Do you have like a talk show format as well?
Not often. I've probably had about a half a dozen guests over the 10 years. I did one interview. Most recently, the book we'll discuss. The author of the book we'll discuss, Darlene Lacey.
We're gonna talk about that book in a few moments.
Yeah.
So but you mostly the music that you have on, is it like you said, like country? What kind of? Can you give me like an example of songs you have on?
Well, I'll play a lot of mid '60s garage, because the garage rock in the mid '60s got a lot of airplay on mainstream radio. So for an example for bands.
Can you name one of the bands?
Yeah, Question Mark and the Maserians.
Oh.
Today is Question Mark's, I think it's 76th birthday or 77th birthday. But the Standells.
Yes. Everyone knows who the Standells is.
In Boston.
I love that dirty water. Every time the Red Sox are on a game and they win a game, I'm at the bar, I'll just put in the jukebox "Dirty Water."
There you go.
When they win.
There you go.
Only when they win, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of British Invasion. Some of the mainstream stuff, like
any Beatles?
Yeah, I do. I will play Beatles. In fact, I played Beatles 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
But I do play the Beatles. I'll play the Stones. I'll play the Who, and a lot of stuff. Sometimes more the deeper cuts. I won't play something that was a gigantic hit, or typically won't play a gigantic hit. I'll play an album cut off, in usually the earlier stuff. Although I will play stuff off the more psychedelic things, like say the White Album or something.
Oh, okay.
But I usually stick with the earlier stuff because that's the stuff that got all the garage bands. Everybody went, on February 9th, 1964, the Beatles appeared on Ed Sullivan, and by February 16th, 1964, everybody had a Silvertone guitar and was starting a garage band. So,
Oh, wow. That's awesome, though. I like that kind of music. Alex, we're gonna show a video right now. This is like you in the control booth at your thing. So can you give us a little preview about it?
All right. When I set it up, because I had the camera, and I don't have a tripod for it, but it's set up against the computer screen that faces me on the board, and you might see me disappear for a few seconds at a time while I queue up a record. I do use vinyl records and CDs, physical media, just because I think that's what disc jockeying is all about. But anyway, you will see me do a talk break. If the music cuts out from the monitors, because when you turn on in a control booth, or in a DJ cockpit, you turn on the microphone, the monitors cut out, and you're listening on the headphones, you're listening to your voice and any background music, because I always use background music for talk breaks. And then I would, I back announce the songs. If I played, played a song, you just say what it is. I like full disclosure, because I think people are genuinely interested in where the music comes from. So I play, Walter Brennan, Who'll Take Grandma, and it was on the album Mama Sang a Song on Liberty in 1962, and they may want to buy it on Discogs, or they may not. But
some of the younger Generation Z, they have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh no, Walter Brennan, they don't. I mean, Leonard Nimoy may, because his last movie was in 2014 or 2013. But I'll say. But either way, I back announce the songs, and you'll see that in one part of that in the video.
Okay, we're going to take a look at that video now, so sit back and enjoy, guys.
Oh yeah, it's 6:01 Eastern Time, and these are the Desperate Hours on 91.5 FM, WMFO in Medford, featuring rock and roll, rhythm and blues, punk, pop, truck, and a whole bunch of other stuff like European film soundtracks, song poems, and other junk from the has-been, should-have-beens, woulda-couldas, and never-weres from the 50s through the turn of this century. My name is Alex, and for the next 2 hours I'll be serving up a steaming pile of compilation cuts and drill-outs. I'll be honoring a request tonight in the second hour, and it's going to lead into the Jeff Beck tribute I have planned. It's only about 4 or 5 songs, about 20 minutes. And a lot of his solo stuff probably went in the 5 to 7 minute range. But he is due a tribute. He passed away at the age of 78 on the 10th, this past Tuesday. Jeff Beck of the Yardbirds, and played with innumerable bands, projects really, as well as his own solo albums. And don't forget, in 3 weeks, the second hour of the Desperate Hours will be February 5th, I believe. It's February 5th. Anyway, will be Tears and Alcohol, another episode of Tears and Alcohol. So be sure to tune in for that. Let's get on with it. These are the Desperate Hours on WMFO in Medford.
We're going to talk about these books here.
Yes.
This was one of your guests on your show, Darlene Lacey?
Yes.
Okay, the book is here. It's called Necco, An Epic Candy Tale.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people know what Boston or Massachusetts is famous for as the candy Necco wafers.
Yes.
And we have this book here that shows like the history of the Necco wafers.
Yes. Well, not just the Necco wafers, but hundreds of other brands. I didn't know. I mean, I knew some of the history, but a lot of it I didn't know that they had made like Clark bars, or either that or I'd forgotten. But I learned more in my involvement in the book over a couple of months than I knew in the previous 60 plus years.
Wow.
It's a very it's a very deep dive into the history of Necco. and Cambridge was Candy City, candy capital of the world, and there you go. All
Yeah,
right.
look at that. All those candies.
Yes.
We got here
I miss Canada.
chocolate
mints.
peppermints, lemon drops, Boston baked beans, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's all made by the same company.
Yeah, it was all made by Necco between right up until their demise in 2018.
Yeah, I love these advertisements. They like takes you back to a different
exactly.
time
Just,
and everything. Like even advertising like movies like Mary
Yes.
Poppins and so forth and this is nice. So no, Darlene, she wrote this book. I mean,
Yes.
can you tell her a little? Can you tell us a little about her?
Yes, she's written several books about either pop culture. She wrote another book called Classic Candy, which I believe, and she's done interviews because she owns the Candy Wrapper Museum. And
Really?
Yeah, when she was like maybe a junior or sophomore in high school, she wanted to have a collection, and she started collecting candy wrappers, and it gained notoriety. She got a lot of press. She's been interviewed on Food Network and other networks for this very thing. And what happened was the genesis of this book was the guy who was R&D for Necco from the 80s up until 2018 knew of her and sent her all this ephemera, old packages, invoices, you name it, in a huge box. She got it. Most of it was in fantastic condition, dating back to the 1880s. And they quickly, her and her husband Joe, quickly decided they were going to make a book out of it. Wow. And you look at this, it's fantastic.
I'm looking at all these great, these throwbacks to all the candies.
Joe did the layout, and
this is nice.
Darlene had
Now,
written
all these wrappers, are they part of her collection?
Yeah, well, yes, they are.
That's very nice.
Squirrel nut zippers. I mean, in my neighborhood in Cambridge, we used to be able. You'd have Necco like a quarter mile.
Yeah.
In the southern direction, and Squirrel Nut
Here we have
a quarter mile in the other direction.
We have here Clark bars.
There you go.
And, what's that other one? Zagnut.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, this is interesting. We got another book here. We're just going to take a look at it.
It's the companion book, which is the archive collection.
Oh wow. So these are all the different boxes and everything
from
like that.
Various eras, right up to the end, right up to 2018.
Now we're going to show some pictures now on the slide right here.
Yep.
We're gonna show. This is like the old factory from past before.
Yes. Now they weren't always located in.
They're in Cambridge right now, right?
But they're done. They're out of business. They were in Boston, South Boston, from 1899 to 1926, and from 1926 to 2003 they were in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Now it's Novartis Biochemical, and they moved to the old Moynihan Lumber location in Revere from 2003 to 2018.
Wow.
And now that's an Amazon fulfillment center.
Everything's Amazon now.
I know, yeah, no kidding.
Can we take a look at some of the pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, all right. So now what building is this right here?
Okay, now this is the original building on Melcher Street, Necco Place. Now there's Necco Street, Necco Court, and there was a Necco Place, and that's where the old channel was. Where you saw all manner of bands, Iggy Pop and Violent Femmes and all local bands like Liars and whatnot. But there's the building to your right, the left, the light tiled building.
Yeah.
That's where the original factory was that was built in 1901. It sits on the Fort Point Channel, and it's now occupied by GE. And incidentally, a friend of mine's daughter works in that building, at least.
And where is this building again?
This is on Melcher Street in South Boston.
I think I've been by there before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You probably have. And there's a nice superimposing on the lower right-hand picture.
Yeah.
My picture with a picture from, I believe, 1910.
Wow. Yeah, they had horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah,
too.
and nothing changed essentially in the building. It did have a different use because I worked for an office supply house in the late '70s, mid to late '70s, and the people who make the old Dennison correction tape and reinforcements had a distributorship in that building, so I had some familiarity with it. But now it's all, it's back. It belongs to, or it's occupied by GE. Across the street, it's all residences. Before that was light manufacturing as well.
That's good. Can we see the next photo? Oh.
Yep,
Oh.
Squirrel Nut. Now, this Squirrel Nut, the top left picture I took, that's from last December, a year ago, December 2021. And the picture of the building that was built in 1914.
That building was built in 1914.
Yeah, now it's Squirrel Nut Apartments. It's affordable housing. So
what a name, Squirrel Nut.
Yeah,
it sounds dirty, but I mean,
so,
one of the candy, try a new Squirrel Nut.
Yes, and I took pictures. There was snow on the ground, some ice, so I could only take so many pictures of the tiles on the walkway. But they told a little history of Squirrel Nut and how they started. How they started out. The original founder was peddling nuts from street to street. Then there's the picture of the park, the picture of the tiles, side picture of the building.
So right now it's an apartment complex.
Yes,
right
it
now,
is.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Well, the park used to be a community garden because I remember I rented a garden one year in the '80s, and Squirrel Nut was still in business, but now it's just used as a park to go alongside the apartments.
Now, Squirrel Nut is a candy, right?
Yeah,
it was a candy like
Squirrel Nut zippers.
Is that that's where the band got the name Squirrel Nut Zippers?
There's an interesting story on that because the Squirrel Nut Zippers were founded around 1992 or 1993, and there's one of the tiles or one of the inscriptions on the tablet says that the Squirrel Nut Zippers were founded in 1933, and Squirrel Nut Zippers didn't go on the market till around 1940, and it says so like how if the Squirrel Nut Zippers named themselves after Squirrel Nut Zippers, the band. Squirrel Nut Zippers named themselves after Squirrel Nut Zippers. Well, as Squirrel Nut Zippers didn't hit the shelves, candy store shelves till like around 1940 or 42.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting, that I think the person doing the engraving must have misread the history.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's see the next one, guys. That's the old factory.
Yes.
The Necco Wave.
So this is from across 4 Point Channel. I was at. I took it from the side from the South Postal Annex. And there's a little. I forget what they call keystones or whatever they are on the side of the building because they were originally owned by Boston Wharf Company, and there were some nice pictures there. I took the picture on the bottom left, which
that's a beautiful picture.
Thank you. And then there's the original. Again, Boston sometimes I think is a city that doesn't throw anything out. So there's a lot of old business, a lot of old buildings like, built in 1901 and it's still pretty much in its original form. I mean,
well, they used to be the West End and they destroyed that.
Yeah.
I remember that because my mother used to live in the West End.
Yeah.
And actually, she had a famous neighbor in the West End, Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, of course.
She actually, that's the one thing I envy my mother. She met Leonard Nimoy. I never did. So, I mean, but he grew up in the West End just like my mother did. But,
and, no matter how Hollywood he got, he wore being from Boston like a badge.
You have to see Leonard Nimoy's Boston. It's a great documentary. It's a really great documentary. But this is nice. Now, the one on the top right there.
Yes.
Where is it? What is that?
That's looking down Melcher Street from the other end. The first pictures of the curvature. I'm looking at the other end, and they had walkways, annexes that you could get from one end of the building to another manufacturing plant.
It's like a little bridge, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's nice. And the ones on the bottom right
That's
there?
the back alleys, the backs of the buildings.
Oh.
This is all manufacturing for NECO.
And you took all these pictures?
Yes.
Can
On
I
this
ask-
page, except for the top.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, that's a historical picture.
historical. Now, the what's that on the upper left? The circular.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the Keystone, the BWCO, I believe 1907.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about it.
Yeah, Boston Wharf Company.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next photo, guys. Okay.
Here we go.
What is that?
All right, it's a sculpture of a spilled bag of Necco wafers. And I have a story about this because when I went out and, Darlene had emailed me and she said, I heard about this sculpture of spilled Necco wafers. And I said, yeah, all right, I'll go out, because there were some other things, other locations they assigned me to. So I do the other location. I come down here and I knew it was on the grounds of the old Simplex cable plant because the Necco plant backed into it. So I'm looking around, and here I am expecting something that's the size of at least a toaster oven.
Yeah.
And it's really only about this big, like,
Oh, my.
like that. So what I had to do is she had sent me a text or an email with a blurb about the sculpture and the general location. So then I says, okay, now it's in the northwest corner. So I'm standing. I have a fairly good sense of direction. Okay, that's north. Here we go, and I finally found it. It took me like an hour, but I found it, and I love the shot.
It's only about that big.
Yeah, it's small, but
What is it? Is it a tin can?
Oh, no, it's a bag.
It's a bag.
it's a bag of Necco wafers.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
It's incredibly detailed.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's incredibly detailed. You see Necco and
Yeah.
the wafers and somebody, just pretending that somebody was sitting on the bench. The bag tipped over and he had to go back to work.
Do you know who made the sculpture?
I don't know.
Wow, that is so cool though. It's something so simple, like in a
Oh,
little
yeah.
too. Okay, let's see. We have another picture. Let's see. No, is that it? Oh no, that's it.
Yep, that's
no, that
it.
is it. That is it. But I'm looking at this book about that Darlene. Darlene made it. If you
Yeah.
want to know, where can anybody get this book?
They can
Is
get it on Amazon. It is
Amazon.
available on Amazon. Both books, the Necco and Epic Candy Tale and the Archive Collection, are both available on Amazon.
Wow. I mean, can I be honest with you? I don't think I've ever had a Necco wafer in my life.
Really?
That's weird though. I mean, I'm a chocolate freak. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had Snickers, all this stuff, but I've always heard of Necco wafers, but as God is my witness, I've never had one.
Really?
I've never had one.
I prefer the chocolate ones. Yeah, I go through.
I'm gonna have one now. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm
there you
gonna
go.
go in the store and get one
You
right
go
now,
to
right
Market
after
Basket.
this.
You go to
I'll go to
Market Basket, right by the.
I definitely want to do.
Right by the.
Okay. We got the archive
register.
collection
And
and
an Epic Candy Tale.
Epic Candy Tale,
Yep.
right there. Oh, look at it. That's so you can go on Amazon to
Amazon.
get this.
Yep.
I'm really fascinated. I love the the history. I mean, you can go back to the 1940s, the 50s, and some of these places, but it's beautiful. I always wonder where did the word Necco come from? Is it
New England Confectionery Company.
Oh,
It was a merger of, I think, 3 or 4 different companies, maybe more. But in New England, they merged and became New England Confectionery Company.
Oh, I see. Now, is this Darlene right here?
It is,
That's
yeah.
her. Let's see that one. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Look at. She's got quite a collection. I can see.
Yeah, well, that's not even scratching the surface.
No, I know. Wow, these are beautiful books. I think I may go and get on Amazon and get
Yeah.
one there too. Now, Alex, if people want to contact you or want to be on your radio show, what's the best way to get?
They can email me at coffeeandsmokes@verizon.net. That's COFFEENSMOKES @verizon.net. I kept the for the old show. I just had it for almost 30 years now. Also, they can go to Facebook, the Desperate Hours on WMFO Facebook page, and there's a group they can join. if they want to listen to the show, they can go to www.wmfo.org and hit to listen. But the best way would be to email me. And if they, if they're interested in being on the show, or they have requests or whatever, that would be the best way.
Yeah, like I said, I recommend these books right here because I like I said, we'll probably show the Amazon link in order to get people can get those. And if you see Darlene, tell her that thank you. It was a pleasure to have her books and everything like that. Alex, I want to thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome.
I hope you had fun.
Oh, absolutely. The pleasure is mine.
Like I said, so you want to learn more about Alex? It's The Desperate Hours.
Yep.
At www.wmfo.com.
Org. It's org.
I'm sorry. We're going to have that in the credits, so that way I don't screw it up.
And also 91.5 FM on your FM dial.
And when is your show on? Every Thursday?
Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay, that WMFO. Okay, so tune into this show, Alex. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Say hi to Nick for me. Hope he's doing good on the mend and everything. So I want to thank Alex Piandes, and that's all the time we have for this TVB show. Until then, have a good day, everybody. See you later.
Take care.